Hi, it's Des. I'm here in Denver in Colorado. I'm at Commvault Go 2019, and I have the lifelong dream and pleasure of being joined by Al Bunte, who is the co-founder and former COO of Commvault. Al, thanks so much for making time to catch up with me.
My pleasure, Des.
And it's great to see you.
Thank you.
Now,
Good seeing you.
Oh, thank you. Now, firstly, congratulations on an amazing event. I mean, this thing seems to double year on year, and this whole format of having sort of day zero of the training and certification and then the expo for a couple of days and the exciting keynotes, best format ever, and just the camaraderie and the networking that's taking place, huge credit to you.
Why, thank you.
Now, I would love to maybe just take people on a journey. I mean, people have heard of Al Bunte, they've heard of Commvault, they know the company. I would love you maybe just to take us through a journey of kind of your, from the moment you decided to sort of build this organization as the co-founder through to some of the highlights to where you are now and essentially the jewel at the crown of your whole business journey. Give us a little bit of insight into kind of the life of Al Bunte inside Commvault, where you came from and some of the highlights you've had so far.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride.
I bet it has.
And this is a nice way to exemplify that success, this show. I think when you commented earlier about Commvault Go, I told other people, when we originally laid this out, Des, I wanted it to have a Commvault flavor.
Right.
So I wanted it not a kind of a boring user group thing, nor just a user group show. I wanted to keep the authenticity and the intimacy of Commvault. That's what we're known for. So we had 50, 60 developers around here completely booked.
It's fantastic.
And we keep doing that. But anyway, that whole idea goes back to the idea of really Commvault and what we were trying to do. So we got it going in 1997. We had the idea of, we wanted to do something with data. Both the other founder and I knew nothing about backup or storage. We were tech guys. We'd run a couple other tech businesses, but we came in and I said I wasn't burdened with facts. It was kind of a Trump thing.
That's actually a good thing, though.
Yes, but I didn't understand why people were making all these copies.
Right.
It was up to 17, 18 different copies in those days, and everybody had to make a copy of their data, right?
We were still really trying to figure it out, weren't we? It was like,
that's true.
There wasn't really a book on how to do it.
So I said, if we could somehow index that and make one virtual copy, think how efficient that would be. And as we came into Commvault, we looked around, and to be honest, there weren't a lot of assets other than terrific people.
Right. Well, probably the most important thing in any business.
Which is absolutely the most important asset. And then we had the idea that we thought it would be a good business, a good market, if you were tied to data growth. We thought that would be a good bet. So that was the original idea, the original strategy. We got going, we raised a lot of money, put it almost all into technology and support.
Right.
Didn't believe in Super Bowl ads and those kind of things in those days. And I'm pretty fundamental kind of guy. I believe in customer satisfaction. I believe in people first. I believe in cash flow, profitability, all those old-fashioned things. But
well, old-fashioned things are always good. That's why they remain in our lives.
And that's how we ran the company all these years. We went public in 2006, which you know. And we just kept building on the idea of, yes, you have to protect your data, but you got to manage it, you got to collect it, sometimes you got to move it. And the ultimate idea was, and then use it.
Right,
So I'd go into so many customers in those days, and I said, what's your retention strategy? He said, well, we got to keep blah, blah, blah for 15 years. Okay, and what have you been keeping? They said, everything.
Everything.
And here was the interesting thing. He said, what did you use? And he said, nothing. Not one thing. And I said, why? They said, we have no clue where it is or how to access it.
So it was a liability at that stage as opposed to you turning it into an asset.
Right. So we've gone through the years, we keep expanding out the idea, the whole cloud world these days, again, you know this well, it's added many great things, but it's also increased complexity.
Indeed, indeed.
And I see customer after customer battling with the idea of, I need to use this new infrastructure. It's cool, it's flexible, it's built at extremely efficiently, so I only need it when I need it. But that's not so easy to manage.
No.
So it's taking more and more management capabilities, storage layers, data layers, on and on.
Yeah.
So that's all continued to grow off really the original vision. And it's gotten all the way to, at this point, as we have a new management team coming in, it's very prideful on my point that they've supported that vision. They've not tried to disrupt all that.
Yeah.
They've just tried to make huge improvements and go to market, keep that innovation engine going. So,
indeed. In fact, I'd like to touch on that again in a minute, but a couple of things you noted there before. I mean, when you talked about indexing data, I remember my first experience in exposing myself to Commvault as a platform. The thing that struck me was exactly what you said. It was like, well, you're indexing the data, you're treating it like a database.
yes.
I can query it, I can look
That's
at it,
exactly right.
I can get a health check on it, I could even checkpoint it and roll it back.
Yep.
And I remember this aha moment, this epiphany. It was just like, that makes sense. It was one of those problems that just had to be solved, and I think the approach you took was just so groundbreaking that we've never really had to change that model because you got it right the first time.
Yes.
It reminds me of Arthur C. Clarke's line that says something to the effect that a sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, right? There was a moment where
That's good.
I remember writing scripts and doing dumps and tars and all these raw blobs of everything. And as you said, it's like, that was a liability to the business. I remember a big transport company I was working for at the time, like, why are we keeping copy after copy? We've got like 3 copies, 4 copies, grandfather, father, son, and then last year's one. And how big's our family gonna get? Right? And then of course you guys came out and we're like, well, we're now got a great solution, and that hasn't changed. In fact, they're still on the platform, by the way, a decade and a half later.
Yeah.
What I love though is that also when you were talking about your focus on data and the value around that, I mean, that's come to fruition in so many ways. It must be rewarding that so much so you could write a book about it. That oil, the data is the new oil, which I thought was pretty funny. You must look at it and go, well, we knew that. We just didn't know the phrase.
Yes.
Great coinage. But also, the thing that struck me with what you were saying before is you focus on value. And I think one of the things in my life experience in business is that if I could focus on value and provide value, money invariably followed. So when you talked about focusing on support, focusing on R&D and development, you were solving problems that people had. When you can fix the pain point, people are willing to pay for it. I think there was amazing insight that you had at that time, and I guess that's why founders like yourselves break new ground and do exciting things and have such great longevity in business, because you've been able to have that foresight, and also I guess being willing to take the risk to make to see if it works.
Yeah, and being a little bit experienced, I think, too, has helped. But you're absolutely right. When I came into the business, and I still say it today, we are here to make a difference. Mm-hmm. I said, any of you that are here just to make money, don't bother.
You're in the wrong place.
But I said, by the way, if we make a huge difference, you probably will make some money.
And maybe lots of it.
And I felt strongly about it, and as we went through the years, Des, I tried to make sure people understood the personal side.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, when you get hit with a ransomware attack or a major outage, I said, don't necessarily think of the money.
Yeah.
But think of the poor IT guys that worked around the clock for 100 days.
The impact that it's had.
So, and everybody, of course, blamed them.
Of course.
So they had the whole world looking at them. But think
from the
about
CEO
it
down.
Think about it from a personal side. And again, we're here to make a difference.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I have friends who are decades down their career path, still love being system administrators, still love being DBAs. Some of them actually have had support for PTSD style emotional breakdowns because they have had their companies attacked or they had a data breach. They didn't plan to do that. They didn't get up on Monday and go, I'm going to leak data. It just happened, and there's cunning hackers, there's ransomware, and from the CEO down is on their case. But it's like, and that's a very real risk these days that's going to happen. Everybody's under attack. It's how do you prepare for it? How do you plan for it? How do you proactively get ahead of that curve? And I think now that this transition you're making from, I guess, what used to be a backup company to a data protection company, and big data and analytics and all those things around it now, and cloud, I mean, these are natural progressions in the industry, but you've adopted them. And the thing I liked about what a lot of your SMEs are telling me today and yesterday was you've invested time and resource and effort in getting the right people in the company to spend time on solving problems before the industry needed them. Because I think that's the other challenge that a company like yours has, that you can't be in catch-up mode, you've got to be there before the market demand comes so that you're ready to willing to offer that service, otherwise you're not competitive, right?
I called it shoot in front of the ducks.
Assuming they're flying.
Yes, yeah, or they're off the ground, right. But absolutely, and I think the other thing we got right early on in this company, well, one, we have very talented developers, very bright people, and just dedicated almost so that make a difference. They feel for the customers, but years ago, myself and the senior dev team, we decided to have each engineer adopt a customer when they were upgrading at that point. Because upgrade can always be
that's where the real pain
an issue, right? And we were like a lot of software companies, we had issue, you'd forget the defaults and things like all that silly stuff. But anyway, we decided to have each engineer, as each upgrade came through our support desk, to adopt a customer.
Brilliant strategy.
So that went on, Des, for about a month. And I came back to the guys and said, okay, you're doing 150 a week, are you guys ready to put this back to the support organization and or the field? And they said, no. I said, why? You don't have enough to do or something, They said, we love it.
Oh, really?
And I said, well, why do you love it? And they said, we get to talk with end users, we get to feel their pain, and it's really insightful on, we're learning, that's what you're doing. That's how you're really using the product. And I believe that was one of the points as we went along, so we established that. It's today known as rapid dev kind of model, but an engineer to an end user kind of relationship, and it's lasted to this day.
Well, you're famous for this regular release cycle and regular updates and constant patches to anything you find, and some of the fastest world record-breaking response to any security issue or whatever that comes up. You're pretty open about that, and I think that's held you in good stead for all those reasons. I mean, it's analogous to having children. You can only get them to a certain point, and you've got to set them free to go, but you've got to give them a bunch of foundational rules and things to understand. Getting your developers and engineers to talk to clients is where they get that knowledge from the children, the customers, whatever. You can't get any better insight than the end users, and that's where the pain points are being experienced.
Absolutely. And again, even sometimes end users is different than the buyers.
Yeah.
If you get my drift.
Yeah, if you want to know where the pain is, go straight to the reception desk or the administrator.
Yeah, that's right.
So you touched on something else before, which we were talking about off camera, and it really struck me. It actually hit me right in the heart. When you build an organization this successful and this globally recognized and powerfully recognized, and then a team is played, you entrust another team, you've got Sanjay now, who are on stage presenting your baby. In some cases, people can be challenged about it, but I got the sense talking to you before that you've got this really heartfelt pride that not only have you done an amazing job of building this company, you've got a great team now built to take it and take your legacy, if you like, to the next level. And you've kind of empowered them to do that, which I think is the next generation of success for you. I think that's a credit to you. But how does that feel, sitting in the front row there today, watching the team do that and realize that, hey, I put this together and now it's their turn to kind of take it to the next level?
Well, it's conflicting, obviously.
Right.
The emotion side is I'm dying to get up on stage and do my thing. I always enjoyed that. And as I go around with different sessions, I'm trying to be quiet and let the management team, but the flip side is, as you indicated, I'm very prideful of, Sanjay and the guys have treated me great.
Fantastic.
They've done a really good job at transition. I think the sales organization's in really good shape at this point.
No doubt about it.
Hired some great athletes, as Ricardo says, and like you say, I feel there's a sense of satisfaction, but it's really a sense of pride. Some of the old timers, as they get up and talk, or even the younger guys that David know, and some of them today, I just have this overwhelming sense of pride in them.
I'm glad.
I've known them for 20-some years, as a kid.
Well, their family, effectively.
Yeah, in David's case, kid that had hair even at that point. But they did such a great job on the metallic product, and I'm just very proud of them.
Indeed, and as you rightly should be. In fact, having the opportunity to interview them, some of them, as we are just now, getting that same sense of personal pride, company and team pride, it exudes from them. And I think that's just a testament to the amazing work you've done to this date. What I also want to touch on is this event. I mean, Commvault Go, from the moment it started to today, it's effectively doubled year on year as far as I can tell. Here in Denver in Colorado, what a beautiful place to do it, and the Gaylord Resort's just mind-boggling. I've walked around here every morning as the sun come up and just never want to leave now.
Yes, it's nice here.
Except the dry air. That'll take me to get used to because I'm a sea level guy. But again, it must feel quite amazing. I mean, you're almost like on cloud nine. I imagine walking around realizing that this is your baby, you put it into action, now you can step back and actually enjoy it and come along for the ride rather than having to own it and carry it. Well,
it's true.
Carry it, but you don't have to run it.
It's true, and it is kind of hard to just step back and enjoy, but it's well said. You did a good job describing that, and even the point back on Commvault Go, I wanted, when we originally laid this out, I wanted it to be a Commvault-like thing.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do another big event in Vegas, or
right.
no disrespect to Vegas. And we got with Gaylord and signed a long-term deal. This place wasn't built when we signed that.
Oh, I remember.
And to me, this is an interesting place. People like coming to places like this. And then you have the whole Commvault feel,
Yeah.
So we've tried to, the team's done a fantastic job of maintaining that intimacy and the Commvault culture almost, or look and feel of the event.
It's a credit to them.
Yet it's full of information, and I think unbiased, but a fun event for people. I think everybody enjoys it.
Oh, I'll be honest, I'm biased because I'm here and I love it, but I would definitely recommend all of our viewers make an effort to come here at some point, no matter how far they are. I mean, 31 hours door to door for me from Sydney.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And I would do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a testament.
You mentioned something there about the culture and the feel and the theme of Commvault. And when I think about day zero with the training, the certification, and the networking that comes with it, I mean, that I think is probably part of your DNA as well as an organization. You spoke about focusing on R&D, on the support piece. Just popping my head in some of those sessions around training or certification alone, I realized everyone's focusing forward, they're paying attention, they're totally zoned in. No one even noticed I walked in the door and left. I was like, okay, that's proof of pudding that what they're learning, what they're engaged in has got their attention, and they're not even looking sideways as I'm coming out of the door.
Good point.
I think that, more than anything, is a testament that this foundational event is basically what you set out to do for the company, from what I can tell.
You're right. It isn't just a demand generational kind of event. It was always thought of as an education event and an enablement. And even our folks, our field people that are here, and of course our really good channel partners, and all those guys, it's all a learning experience. And this business these days, cloud, everything, it's moving very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
the rate of change and the pace of change is amazing. So with that in mind, I mean, this event is spectacular. It's one of those things where it's at an amazing peak now. If I might, as a final question before I let you go, where to for here for Commvault Go? I mean, in the next 3 to 5 years, what sorts of things would you like to sort of see it go? I mean, not necessarily just getting bigger, but are there particular things that you'd like to see integrated into it? I mean, you've got this amazing day zero of the training and certification networking. You've got the dinner last night welcoming, which was just amazing. There was a whole bunch of hugging and shoulder grabbing. I thought it was fantastic. There's a camaraderie of even potentially competitors coming together and just getting to meet each other and talking about the problems they're solving with your technology and platform. Where would you like to see Commvault go beyond this? Because this is already amazing. How does it get better than this?
That's a tough question. I agree.
Well, I figured I'd give you a tough one at the end because you've had a good ride so far.
Well, I think the content of what we'll be talking about even 2 years from now will be amazing. I believe, in the past, applications and computers are generating data. Obviously, these days, we're learning that everything is data.
Yeah.
In some of my new fields, there's an understanding that chemistry is just data, or our bodies, or biology. It's what we learned years ago in electrical engineering. It's like, wow, this is just math.
Yeah, exactly.
We thought it was science, But I think there'll be some really interesting things going on there. I find the concept of, a couple of years ago, we were all saying information is power. And of course, any non-foolhardy person would still say that, but I feel like the real power will be in to be able to ignore the data you don't need to focus on. Or be able to, you know, because as you know, especially in your business, you're getting blasted.
Yep.
And so I think the real interesting thing is, can you thread out the really important pieces of data in the world going forward? And I think that's a pretty hard trick.
Indeed, it's the ultimate panning for gold, isn't it? Because if you're sluicing for gold, panning for
that's
gold,
a very good way of saying
what you swish out may have a couple of gems in it. The thing that I get from not just talking to yourself, but also the amazing team around you, is that this event now is of the right format and structure and potentially size, such that now it should be, you know, it almost just now needs to continue its lifetime of just adapting to those trends you're talking about, to the technology. So now, you know, we've gone from physical to virtual, virtual to cloud, cloud to containers and Kubernetes orchestration, DevOps, all those things we were dreaming about. It's in your event here. You know, I had a great conversation about Kubernetes and Docker with someone just a moment ago on camera. Had a great conversation about cloud. So I think those themes will just mature and pan out. I'm sure it'll continue to grow in attendance, but I think there'll be an amazing, exciting journey, as you were alluding to before, of just the maturation of that conversation. It'll grow up with the trends, it'll grow up with the market demand, and you're there ready and willing to just steward that almost as a parent in many ways, to support that conversation, support that evolution. Yep,
keep shooting in front of the ducks.
Keep shooting from the ducks.
And I agree, that again, very well said. I'd like to think the company will do that, obviously. And as you said up front, this is kind of a reflection of all things Commvault, really. So I'm confident with Sanjay and the team that they'll put a premium on innovation. I always felt like one of my jobs was to not penalize people that failed. It was one of my key jobs in running the product side of the organization.
It's like you foresaw the fail and file fast story.
Kind of, yes. And just keep figuring it out as you go through, and it's become very iterative. You know, how we learn, how we develop. You know, a big one on Stella saves the farm kind of thing on innovation, of course being a farm guy, but I believe in that. And again, to your point, I hope the organization keeps growing. I think you've got an amazing future in front of them.
Indeed.
I think there's a bigger future in front of them than where we've been even years ago.
There's no doubt of that.
Hopefully they take our foundation and keep going. And I'm sure they will. They got great people.
The acquisition of Hedvig was another massive success story, and your first acquisition, and congratulations on that. And the startup within an existing enterprise in the form of Metallic is just another success story. So I think those also are going to continue to realize your dream, and that is that this innovative company is not just innovating in data protection anymore, it's doing a whole range of other things. In fact, you're a startup factory, because I can imagine that Metallic story now is going to get repeated across multiple things inside the company. But I predict that people are going to come from the consumer and customer base now saying, you did inside your company, could you help us do it inside our company? That would be an interesting journey.
Well, as I kind of told you off camera, I'm looking forward to things like that. I actually kind of like uncertainty in my life, and it's part of my background, but that will be fun.
I guess as humans we love that. That's why we jump out of airplanes with parachutes on. Because there's no guarantee you're going to make it out of there alive, and if you do, it's exciting.
That's true. Or, you know, you fall down the steps and you're going to get to the bottom.
Indeed.
And you'll probably live, you know. So.
That's good. Well, and we have to learn from it. Well, Al Bunte, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you.
Same here,
Great to see you. And I have every confidence that not only is this event Commvault Go going to just continue to blossom and move with those trends and potentially lead them, but also kind of be the home of innovation for people to come and network together. Even competitors, as I said last night, I saw two competitive companies talking together as friends, talking about the problems and pain points you'd help them solve. And you could just tell that moment when they're from, oh, you work for this company, you work for that company, okay, we could be friends. That, if anything,
is like, I like that.
That's magic.
One thing I didn't mention, going forward, I have the thought that I'd like to create an alumni organization of Commvault. And again, sometimes they're at competitors nowadays, or partners, or customer, or whatever. And I don't know, I feel strongly about, because as you mentioned, I walk around and get hugs from people I haven't seen for 20 years, you know.
There you
I have
go.
customers, very good friends, you know.
Well, let's face it, you have quite an intimate relationship with them, if you'll forgive that phrase, and that is you are literally protecting their crown jewels
Yes, that's true.
in every possible way. So
Yes.
I think, you know, that sort of that really matches my expectation of that the relationship with you is particularly intimate in so many ways
Yeah.
because of the data and the protection of the data and all those things you're going to do even into the future.
Yep.
Well, congratulations on an amazing story so far, and I just can't wait
Thank
to see
you,
what
sir.
the next couple of decades are like. And thank you so much for having me here at Commvault Go 2019 in the
Our
amazing
pleasure.
city of Denver. And yeah, I just can't wait to do it again.
Sounds great.
Well, thank you very much, Alan, and hopefully we'll have you on the podcast again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Des.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.